Have you ever noticed how fast life changes? One moment you're celebrating a victory, and before you know it, the joy has already faded. That brand new phone gets its first scratch. The flower that bloomed yesterday begins to wither today. A child you once carried in your arms suddenly grows taller, leaving you stunned at how quickly time slips away. Deep down, we all know nothing lasts forever, yet our hearts still cling. We cling to loved ones, to possessions, even to the identity we've built for ourselves, as if they could somehow stay the same forever. And here lies the great paradox. If nothing is permanent, then what exactly are we holding on to? This question cuts to the very core of Buddhist wisdom. The Buddha called it impermanence, the undeniable truth that everything around us is in constant motion. Our bodies, our emotions, our belongings, even our thoughts, they're all shifting moment by moment. Take a look in the mirror. The face staring back at you today is not the same one you saw 10 years ago. The feelings you carried yesterday aren't here anymore. Even the cells in your body are dying and being reborn every single day. Trying to hold on to permanence is like trying to cup water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the quicker it slips away. Still, the human heart resists. We build castles in the sand and weep when the tide washes them away. The Buddha once said, "All conditioned things are impermanent." When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. So, the real issue isn't whether life is impermanent. It absolutely isn't. The deeper question is, why do we cling, even when we know we cannot keep? Our minds crave stability. We long for something solid to rely on, a person, an achievement, a feeling that won't fade. But life doesn't work that way. Think of holding a handful of sand. Grip it too tightly, and it spills through your fingers. Hold it gently, and it rests calmly in your palm. That's how attachment works. The more desperately we try to own, the more pain we feel when change inevitably comes. In Buddhism, this is explained through tanha, craving or thirst. We crave pleasure, we crave identity, we crave existence itself. And from that craving comes the illusion. This is mine, this is me, this is who I am. Yet impermanence shatters that illusion. The rose you call yours today will wither tomorrow. The praise you receive this morning may turn into criticism by nightfall. Even your beliefs, the ones you thought you'd never abandon, can shift and betray you. Here's a simple experiment. Think of one thing in your life you swore you never wanted to change. Maybe it was a relationship, a career, or a precious season of life. Now ask yourself, did it remain the same, or did time quietly reshape it? That uneasy truth is where suffering begins. It's born from clinging to what can never be held forever. We cling to people and possessions as if they could last forever. But the quiet law of impermanence always whispers a different truth. The Buddha offered a vivid image. Holding on to the things of this world is like gripping a burning coal. The more tightly you grasp it, the more you scorch yourself. And then in our pain, we blame the coal. Yet the suffering was never caused by the coal. It was born from our refusal to release it. Even the Buddha's own life told this story. He entered the world as Prince Siddhartha, surrounded by wealth, beauty, and comfort, carefully shielded from every trace of suffering. But curiosity led him beyond the palace walls, where he witnessed the four sights: an old man, a sick man, a lifeless body, and finally a wandering monk. Those encounters shook him to the core. Old age, illness, and death, no amount of power or privilege could guard against them. He saw clearly that clinging to youth, health, or wealth was pointless. They were destined to crumble like sandcastles swept away by the tide. In the Dharma, he taught, all conditioned things must pass. One who sees this truth grows weary of the sorrow of the world and walks the path toward purity. There's a story of a grieving mother named Kisa Gotami. Her only child had died and her grief consumed her. She begged the Buddha to restore the child's life. The Buddha gave her a simple but piercing task: bring me a mustard seed from a household untouched by death. She searched from home to home, But everywhere she went, she heard the same stories: parents, siblings, children, all lost to time. She returned empty-handed, but her sorrow had changed. She understood now that death comes for every family. Her pain became wisdom. Another time, the Buddha pointed to a lotus flower. He asked his disciples to admire its beauty, but also to notice its fate. It too would soon wither. Its impermanence did not make it less beautiful. It made it more precious. Because it would not last, it demanded to be cherished in the present moment. We often see impermanence as a curse, but the Buddha revealed it as one of life's greatest teachers. Without change, there could be no growth, no renewal, no chance for freedom. So, how do we live in harmony with this truth? How do we loosen our grip in a world that never stops shifting? The Buddha's answer was mindfulness and equanimity. Mindfulness opens our eyes to reality, showing things as they truly are. Equanimity steadies our hearts so we can face change without fear. Let's try a simple practice right now. Focus on your breath. Feel the inhale as it rises. Notice the exhale as it falls away. Each breath is born, lingers for a moment, and then disappears. Within this simple rhythm, impermanence reveals itself. Here's another exercise. Close your eyes and listen carefully. Perhaps you hear the song of a bird, the hum of a car, or even the stillness of silence. Every sound has a beginning, a life, and an end. Nothing lasts forever. By training our awareness with these small truths, we prepare ourselves for the greater realities, the fading of moments, the changing of relationships, and one day, the passing of our very lives. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha taught a profound practice to watch our feelings, our thoughts, and even the sensations in the body with clear awareness, repeating silently, "This is not mine. This is not who I am. This is not myself." At first, those words can sound distant or cold, but the teaching isn't about becoming detached in an uncaring way. It's about learning to meet life with wisdom instead of ownership. One monk once explained it through a simple image holding a bird. If you squeeze the bird too tightly, you injure it. If you fling your hand wide open, it will fly away. But if you hold it gently with space to breathe, you can enjoy its presence while honoring its freedom. That is the art of living with impermanence, not denying change, not fighting against it, but walking alongside it as a companion. And something shifts when we truly understand this. Instead of clinging to life as if it owed us permanence, we begin to flow with it. Picture life as a vast river. You can waste your energy clinging to rocks, battling the current, and exhausting yourself. Or you can surrender to the water, allowing it to carry you forward. Impermanence, once feared, becomes a source of liberation. Because when you stop demanding that life be unchanging, you begin to appreciate what is actually here. Each moment becomes precious precisely because it will not return. The Japanese call this mono no aware, a gentle, bittersweet awareness of beauty that exists only because it will soon pass. It's the tenderness we feel watching cherry blossoms fall. We cherish them more deeply, not despite their impermanence, but because of it. The Buddha's message was clear. Liberation doesn't come by running away from impermanence, but by embracing it fully. He who sees impermanence sees the Dharma. He who sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. And so we ask again, what are we holding on to? Nothing permanent, nothing that will endure. And that is the secret. When we release our grip, suffering softens. We discover we can love more openly, because love is no longer chained to the demand of forever. We live more fully because happiness is no longer postponed for some perfect, unchanging moment. And when death finally arrives, we can meet it with peace, not as a robbery, but simply as another transformation. So when the question arises, if nothing lasts, what are we clinging to? The answer is illusions. We cling to the fantasy that life can remain frozen, that moments can be captured and preserved. But life is movement, and freedom does not come from freezing the river. It comes from learning how to swim in its flow. The next time you notice yourself grasping at a memory, a possession, or even at an idea of who you think you are, pause, breathe, remind yourself of impermanence and ask softly, if this cannot last, how might I hold it more lightly? That gentle shift is the first step into wisdom. This is the very path the Buddha revealed. It is where suffering begins to loosen its grip. It is where real peace takes root. And if these reflections have touched something in you, if you'd like to keep exploring how timeless Buddhist wisdom can guide everyday life, consider subscribing and continuing this journey with us.